Yeah.
Okay. Can I go home? Alright, so my name is Hamid, and today it will be more of a workshop rather than a presentation. So you will have to work a lot together. Sorry. Okay, so for those who don't know me, so I am a CELTA trainer, teacher trainer, CELTA tutor, and I have finished my CELTA and Delta like 2018, CELTA 2016, and I have been teaching for 13 years, but I'm not that old.
How old are you? How old are you?
30? Around 34, can't remember.
Okay.
Really? Okay, so I'm currently doing my MA in professional development, and I have been doing CELTAs with many places around the world, different continents. IH Sydney, International House Cairo, Rome, Spain, and of course Future University in Egypt.
That's good.
So yeah, a little bit both now. Okay. Now, our agenda for today actually includes 5 parts. However, if we don't get to number 4, it should be fine. Like my main focus is this one, guided discovery, and then we'll be moving to some examples, some practice, and then moving to practice activities in general, and then ending with the difference between both of them. Okay, so let's start with the basic question. What is guided discovery? Okay, so I'll just give you some time, talk to the person next to you, see if you can share anything. Like, what do you know about guided discovery? If you can think of points, you don't have to think of a definition, just some points. Yeah, you can talk together.
It is a lesson framework.
It is not framework. Okay? Still discussing? Okay. Any ideas? So.
The guided discovery is referring to a kind of strategy that focuses on eliciting the rules through activities without showing the students the rules directly, and maybe to center on the students more than teacher centered.
Okay.
It's like an approach we use to teach something, some kind of language like grammar. For example, we can use like a reading text, and this reading text we can use some grammatical rules like past simple, like present perfect, and so on. So
Okay.
you can this is allow your students to figure out the form of the language or the form of the tense.
Okay.
It's like somebody when they go to the gym and they want to practice without a coach. They go and see all of these equipments and they feel puzzled. But then a coach comes and then he guides them through what they should do, but doesn't even do it for them. He tells you, he instructs you, but he gives you the freedom to do it yourself, but with a little bit of guidance.
Okay, so now we said 3 different things. Like, some people believe it's a framework or an approach, some people believe it's a strategy, and some people believe it's a practice.
I think it's technique.
A technique or a strategy. Okay.
Can I give an example?
Sure.
So, for example, when we're teaching vocabulary, so if I want the students to get the meaning, so I'll just give the task and do it alone. This is not guided discovery. But if I'm just trying to elicit the meaning from them, and I'm here in front of the class, and we have just like two-way communication from me to the students and from the students to me, this is guided discovery.
Okay.
We're doing it, but I'm handling them at the same time.
Okay, so your example means you are controlling everything, like you're the teacher.
Not everything, but
But you're interacting with them.
Yes.
Okay. Anybody else?
Like the teacher is helping the students to notice the language in general.
Okay.
Before without the confusion.
So now we have noticing as well. Okay. Any things to add? Okay, let's have a look together. So for the first thing, as you said, it is an alternative to teaching like the explanations. Instead of you explaining everything, and the students are passive, not doing anything, just listening, this is an alternative. And we'll look at examples later on. The second point is students are discovering the meaning, form, or both, or one of them, depending on what you want. But which one comes first?
The meaning. Yeah. The meaning.
Okay, the meaning comes first. Yes, normally meaning comes first, because how can you elicit the form of something they don't know? Why we use it? Okay. And then learners are more active, as you said, like they're actually engaged in the whole process. It can be oral or written, as the example given here. Like if you're the teacher using some concept questions, eliciting from the students, checking with them, you're guiding them in some way, but the interaction is like teacher-student. But when they're doing it together, it's more engaging because they are just indulged in everything, and you're just guiding and instructing and giving feedback, monitoring, and so on. And we'll talk about all of that in a moment.
Student-centered or
Yeah, it is more student-centered. And of course, it works for grammar and vocabulary, but mainly for
grammar.
mainly for grammar. It can work for both. Okay. I think grammar is starting from early levels like starters, elementary, and everything. But vocabulary would be a little bit higher, maybe upper intermediate and so on. Okay. Now, this is what we're referring to, the text-based approach. Okay. Now, is this guided discovery all of it?
Sorry.
Again, all of these stages, can we call them guided discovery?
No.
Yes.
Not all of the stages.
If the exposure has some guided discovery activities, it can be, I think.
So it's not about the language.
Yes, of course.
The type of language. I want to teach the target language, of course, from the lead-in.
Of course, we're not doing it in the lead-in. So what are they discovering in the lead-in?
It's like the title of the topic.
So it is the context,
Yes.
not the language.
Yes.
Okay, so all of that is called,
Text-based presentation.
this is the approach.
Okay.
Now, guided discovery is here.
It concerned with the
So
clarification
it's
only?
more of
Technique.
a technique to clarify language, it's not an approach.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it is part of the approach.
Okay, when a teacher provide an example and the students should find out the rules by themselves.
Yeah, but we do not call this one as guided discovery.
Yani the clarification stage only, this is a guided discovery?
Yes.
Mean that.
Yeah, because the whole thing is called
Text-based.
text-based, because we have a text
Yes.
Yeah.
in the exposure, we have the lead-in, we have the clarification practice.
Yep.
Okay, so it's not in the freer practice, it's not in the lead-in, it's not in the exposure,
Yeah.
it's in the clarification stage.
Mm-hmm.
So it is more of a technique, not an approach. Agreed?
Agree.
Good. And in this stage, you have a lot of things. You have highlighting, noticing, you have the guided discovery, and you have the teaching itself. Okay? So it has a lot of things. Nice. Now, what is your role as a teacher? If students are doing, let's say,
Facilitator.
okay. So I'll give you a number, okay? I need 3 things.
Okay.
Okay, so together try to brainstorm 3 things that the teacher should be concerned with when looking at guided discovery. What is his role before the class, in the class, and after the task? Try to think about it this way.
Before the class,
Mm.
in the class, and after the class.
Yes.
A guide.
Before the task, he must prepare the most appropriate text that shows his target language, whether it's grammar or vocab.
Yes, but this will be related to the exposure stage. Yeah. Can we focus on the guided discovery task only, like this part? Okay. Together, you can brainstorm some ideas together. I just need 3 ideas. Okay, 3 things. Let's go. Just talk together. Okay. So, any ideas? Okay, I'll come back to you. So let's see.
I was just
Or
stressed.
plan for the task.
Sorry.
Plan for the task.
Okay.
Prepare the materials and all that. Okay, during just facilitate with anything for the students or
Okay.
make sure they don't. Oh, sorry. And before also we give instructions, clear instructions.
Yeah, this is one of the things. Okay, very good.
After we said we can give them feedback after.
Okay.
Okay. But we disagreed about in which way. Like we can give them some questions and then or something.
Like the way of feedback.
Yes.
Okay, nice.
So I believe before the teacher should prepare some questions to ask to the students during the clarification, the language clarification. During, I think he or she should lay the limit. Like, expand the questions to elicit from them more and more.
Okay.
And finally, there should be some CCQs to check their understanding for the language present.
Okay. Makes
Can I
sense.
share something besides what he has said for generating their interesting about this topic without showing the target language, whatever is grammar or vocabulary.
Yeah, but this would normally happen before the clarification, before the guided discovery, not in the guided discovery.
Yes, before.
Okay.
In the guided discovery, you said that it depends on the student's rule more than the teacher rule. While the teacher is just monitoring and maybe facilitating something like that without telling a direct information.
Okay. Any other additions? Okay. Let's have a look at the first thing. So basically, the first thing that you should do as a teacher is select effective tasks. Like the guided discovery itself, it should be effective. Now, what do you mean by effective?
To achieve the purpose.
Okay, how? This is the point.
Related to the students.
What do you mean related to the students?
The same
Like by now.
Remember, we're talking about the clarification stage, like the guided discovery in the clarification stage, like you're clarifying grammar or vocabulary.
Enable students to discover.
Okay, it should be
the
helpful for students to discover. Okay.
the language.
For example, if we are getting the students to discover the meaning by following the NPF, for example, the task should get the students really to discover the meaning themselves.
Okay.
So we use must and should and have to, and then the student can match the meanings. So he can go back to the text to find out that this is used for obligation, this is used for advice, and so on.
Okay.
He gets back to the text to get the meaning, then he match himself. I don't do anything. I don't say it explicitly to the student.
Okay.
So the task effectively got the student to discover the meaning himself. I didn't say anything. And
Nice.
so on with the form.
Okay.
I think the pronunciation is, I don't know, it's our job then to drill the pronunciation.
Yeah, but drilling and identifying are two
Yeah.
different things. Okay.
It
Nice.
is related to the outcome of the
The outcome of the task itself.
okay.
Okay.
It should be appropriate to the level of the students and doesn't have many difficult words, many
Okay.
difficult
Nice.
ideas.
To achieve the aims of the task.
Okay.
Should be suitable
difficult, the needs of the student, what you want to be learning, and what is the level, what is the
Okay, very nice idea. Suitable to the needs, easy to navigate, like students can actually do it, not complicated. Language is simple.
Smart.
And so smart, yeah, somehow. Okay, so all of that includes in selecting effective tasks. Now, most course books would give you the task ready.
Yeah.
The guided discovery. But sometimes you need to adapt it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes it looks very complicated. Black and white, and it just looks very blocking. So you might need to adapt everything, but normally you will find it in the course book. You will not normally have to design it, like to design everything. The second thing is, as you mentioned, instructions, feedback, and okay, what do you mean by explanations here?
Presentation. Present.
Clarification.
Okay.
We explain only the difficult ones for the students.
I'm asking.
Okay. So are we going to explain the meaning, form, and pronunciation?
I'm asking.
Hmm. So they did the task, and they finished. What are you doing?
Checking.
Yeah.
Ah.
They are teaching.
So and what is the difference?
CCQs?
What is the difference between your checking and the feedback?
Feedback you give them.
Error correction.
Yes.
Error correction. Correct the errors. Maybe some of the students.
Got something wrong?
Yes.
Isn't that your teaching?
No, I'm just going to feedback.
So what are you doing in the teaching if you're correcting the mistakes of the guided discovery?
I think
I told them why. Why they.
I think feedback is not controlled, but CCQs is controlled.
Well, okay.
I think I
Yes, I'll come back to you in a moment.
Maybe while monitoring, you can do some micro teaching.
Okay.
But in the explanation stage, you will go through the problematic areas. That's it. So you show
Okay.
them, for example, answer here, and then go through the problematic ones through maybe explaining or asking some CCQs.
Yes. Okay.
during the guided discovery, a teacher just finds the common mistakes to focus on it during the teaching stage later on, without telling them what's right and what's wrong. Just notice what they are doing.
I would go for the idea of finishing the task, giving them feedback like the answer key, and then teach what they don't know or what they find confusing, and this all will be based on your monitoring. And we'll talk about that in a moment. And the last one is okay, managing the lesson effectively. And this takes me to a very good question. Which one comes first? The guided discovery or the teaching?
Guided discovery.
Because you
In order to find the gaps.
Okay, so what happens if you give them the guided discovery after you teach?
No need for that now. Just wait out.
It's useless.
Yeah.
It will be more of useless practice.
You should expose them to the target language that you want.
Again, we are not talking about the exposure. We're talking about the clarification. Exposure is a totally different stage. Okay, we will have a look at examples right now, but the exposure is a totally different one. Okay, let's have a look at some examples, and then we can go back to the ideas that we discussed. Okay, take a look at this one and have a look at the instructions, and try to decide what is it helping students to discover.
Create a function of the tense.
How many tenses?
2.
Okay.
Present continuous and present simple.
Okay. Now, did the task give them the meanings?
Yes.
And what are they supposed to find?
The mean?
No.
The function, the usage.
Have a look at the instructions.
Form, the use form, the meaning, the meaning.
The form.
Exactly. So they're supposed to find some verb forms in the text, match it to the meanings.
Yes.
So the meaning and
Exactly.
Both of them.
But the point is, I'm not giving them a lot of support. I'm just giving the meanings, the structure, uses, and then they have to go back to the text, find some examples. Now, what happens if they couldn't find the examples?
Teacher
What
can help.
happened if?
You can help while monitoring, but what happens if they don't know?
I have to teach.
Yes. They don't know. Alright, so you will have to somehow give them some time. If they don't get it, you'll have to stop and start teaching. Guide the students.
Is it like test, teach, test?
I wouldn't put it as test, because here, for example, they are not doing any test. They are supposed to just notice. They are not answering a question or doing anything. So they're just noticing how it's used. Okay? Let's have a look at another one. What is this one guiding them to discover? Is it the adjectives, the meanings?
No, no.
What exactly in the form?
Preposition.
Very good. Do they have the text?
Yes.
Okay, is it easy to get from the text?
Yes.
Why?
Because
Exactly. They are in blue.
Yes.
Okay, so if you do not highlight it in the text, what happens?
I cannot find it.
It will take ages. Okay, and they will feel confused and they'll just try to find it all over the text. Okay, so highlighting them in the text this way, you just need to notice which preposition is used with which adjective, and that's it. Your job is over. Okay, what about this one? Still the usage again or the meaning, but did I give them the examples this time?
Yeah.
No, they should.
Yeah, they have like that.
So they have the examples and
The
the usages or the meaning, and they are supposed to match. Okay, so 3 different variations. It depends on how the students like to deal with the task, how you like to design the task. It depends on the level of the students, it depends on everything. Okay? And all of these are taken from different books. Like this one is taken from Empowered, for example, and you will find the title as grammar. And normally when you see this title, it means like they are trying to discover. Okay, like you're not supposed to teach, students are supposed to do it. Okay? If you look at face-to-face, for example, you will find it. It says help. So let the students do it. Yeah, but what any level it will be the same title, help with vocabulary or help with grammar. So all of that is guided discovery. But some teachers choose to ignore it and let's teach.
Or apply it like a practice.
Which is horrible.
Which is
Which is horrible.
I guess teachers like try to avoid doing guided discovery because students do not like it. It's very challenging when it's presented in that way. They need to, the teacher should get them through the task gradually. For example, because, okay, what should I do? What I'm doing? What do you want to do?
This goes back to the teacher. So
Yeah,
I'm
so
not
they-
quite sure. Is it the students who don't like it or the teacher who can do it?
Yeah, because the teacher doesn't know how to do it.
Thank you.
I mean, the teacher, all teachers, or as teachers, we know we do need to do guided discovery, but we just do not know to what extent should we edit.
Yeah, I think also the problem is about the management of the task itself, like how to manage it, how to guide the students, how to give instructions, how not to misguide the students, how not to change it from guided discovery into misguided
So I
discovery.
tell you something, if the teacher is not 100% sure about using guided discovery, it's much better to go to the explanation. At least the students will get up with something.
Yes, I think it's much better for him to learn. Because we will not be avoiding guided discovery forever.
Yeah.
This is the idea. But this is the point. Teachers somehow, okay, I don't like guided discovery, and it causes a lot of problems, so I'm not using it. And this keeps happening throughout the whole course. And then they move to another teacher who can actually use guided discovery, and then they say, oh, why are we doing everything?
That's
The
it.
other teacher was much nicer.
Yes.
So everything starts with why. Why do
Exactly.
we need that?
Exactly. So someone want to say something? Yes.
Maybe most of the students face difficulty with these kind of activities because the teachers leave them empty. They just highlight the task, they give them instructions, and they don't demo one of the examples. So
Okay. Could be one of the
maybe
problems.
they get lost.
Could
That's
be one
why.
of the problems, but also instructions are a little bit tricky. So for example, take a look at this one. How would you give instructions? As a teacher, how would you give instructions in the classroom?
I'm blogging. Yeah, use the word that is already there. Yeah, it's one of the it could be an example.
This is the example.
Yeah, and use it, and I'll tell you guys. So this is the form. It usually ends with ing and so on.
It will not work. Like you
I-
start immediately with the example.
I think the instructions here are written clearly. You just like need to say them in short sentences, like, or steps. Like number 1, you're gonna look at the block again. Number 2, you're gonna match the verbs, whatever, and so on. Or have one of the students volunteer to say it to the rest of the class because they have much simpler language and they understand each other better. So you can say them in short sentences and then do an example with them and then
Okay.
let them be.
Yes, but this is absolutely fine. But I'm not one of the fans of letting the students give the instructions. To be honest.
No, I mean read.
Or even read the instructions, because if they are reading the instructions, what are the others doing?
True.
Simplify. You have to simplify.
Yeah, if it's like if you're giving them like, okay, you have 30 seconds, look at the instruction, read it, but then again you are leaving a lot of space for speculations. Everyone will understand it the way he likes.
No, you will still read it or
So why
explain
do
to
it?
them.
So why waste time letting them read?
Because that's where some learn this autonomy.
I know.
We autonomous. We know that I have to answer the teacher's question what we're doing. So basically,
Yeah, but there is a difference between autonomy and not giving instructions.
you will, yeah.
I know, but if you're going to give instructions either way, why let them get confused first? So, my point of view, what I would do is showing the blog again, and then I would say, for example, if this is the blog, I would say, okay, have a look at the blue ones. Exactly, I'll just show them. So this is the blog, these are the blue verbs. Now take a look at this one, which is unblogging. Okay, what kind of tense? And then they would say, continuous? Yes, and then I would go back to the example, which is this one. Here, and then I would say, very good. Now try to find other examples for these usages.
Please again.
Again,
Repeat it again, yes.
again. So we get them back to the blog, show them the blue words. Okay, probably now they know because they have read the text. So they can see that there are different colors. And then you can get this one from the text, from the blog itself, and then you can start asking. So what tense do you think this one is? Is it continuous or simple? And then they would say ing, continuous. Then, okay, so take a look. Why do we use it? So is it something happening now?
So
Is
I
it-
check their understanding, yes.
The demo, like what I said, just give them a clear demo, walking them through the task, and then okay, so now they know, they have the verbs, they have the usages in blue, and they have to match. That's it. But if you say, okay, we have the blog, go back to the blog, you will find blue words, take the words, put them next
You
to the
could
usage.
not understand.
Students are like, what blog? And then you have to keep saying everything again. So you just need to take it step by step. This is the whole idea. Okay, I know. Okay, now some teachers would say, for example, in a task like this, you have 4 sentences, 4 uses, match.
What are they about?
What should I do?
Nobody knows
Look at
okay.
the task and
Just
do
match.
nothing. You just look at the task and keep looking at the
Yes.
task for over and over and over.
And then if
And
they
they
are
won't even ask you what's
exactly, and then if they are such a, like in a lower level, it's saying, why is it?
Yeah, that's right. That's the question.
Exactly. Every single time.
Like,
exhibit.
exactly. And then they will start helping each other, wasting the time for other people. Okay, so it just needs to be a little bit guided. Okay, now it's your turn. I'm gonna show you a guided discovery task, and your job is to evaluate it. Okay, and again we'll be working together in a group. Okay, I need to think about the language, the design, everything. Okay, here we go. If you would like the task as PDF, you can scan this code.
Thank you.
Is it visible?
Yeah.
People in the back? If it doesn't work, you can take a picture. Just a minute, I'm going to take a picture. If it's not visible, like as a QR code from your distance, you can take a picture, then scan it. Might work. Alright, I think we should stick with the picture anyways. Here we go. Alright. Okay, everyone has the picture? Now let's try and work together. Try to evaluate, is it a good one? Yes or no? And why? I need the reasons. Okay, so let's go.
So I think that task is not clear, by the way.
Okay, so is it first, is it a good one or not a good one?
Not a good one.
Okay, so
So the task is not clear, by the way, because we have here the first contention and there are two related to the second contention, by the way. So number 2, there are some difficulty meaning. So there are, number 1, yes, hypothetical situation, by the way. And actually, I am a student and I don't know the contention, by the way. So how can I describe this word?
Okay.
And even if I know them, it will not add anything to them. Even if I am an advanced student, what will I gain from it? Is it the first conditional or the second conditional?
Okay.
It adds nothing to me.
Okay.
Maybe if
Yes. Okay.
maybe if I simplify the second question, I need to move it to the first one. Like I give it first, and then I want them to focus on with each sentence what does it mean first, and then when they get the difference in meanings, and then I'm going to ask them which one is the first conditional, which one is the second conditional, based on what they understood from the meaning. And moving on, and then look at the structure. Like question 2, question 1, question 3.
And the
Makes
third
sense.
question, I think, is not a good one to discover the structure.
Okay. Nice. Any other ideas? It is a good one. Portion. Okay.
I guess we can skip question number 1. We can do that with the whole class. So basically, we're talking about intermediate students. So they know first condition and second condition. We all know them. So in order to just set the ground, guys, which one is the first condition, which one is the second condition? Okay, that's good. Now we want you to think about question 2. Do you understand it? What's the meaning of the word hypothetical? Real or unreal?
So we'll pre-teach.
No, I'm not teaching.
No, you're pre-teaching the words.
Yeah, making sure they understand these words. If these words are important to me, if I want them to know the word hypothetical, if I don't want, I will just replace it with unreal. Other than that, I go with question number 2, split it into 2 different questions. And number 3, I prefer to do it with the students.
Okay. So my question is it important for students to know the names? Which one's the first condition? Which one's the second condition?
No. But we already know.
I know we already know, but is it important to focus on?
Yeah, it's important. Why? To give them this credit. Okay, now we know what we're talking about. Something familiar.
Okay.
They can learn the names of the first and second at last.
At the end.
Exactly. Yeah, at the end.
Okay. So we'll see. Now, this is a horrible task. Yeah, it took me a lot to design such a bad task. Okay. The point is, first of all, if you look at the first question, it is not that good because this is supposed to come at the very end. After the meaning is settled, everything is settled, now they can see which one is the first and second conditional, if needed. Okay? So, this one is a little bit complicated, very complicated. And this one as well. So, yeah, students will end up not doing anything.
Yes.
Just feeling confused. So, if we're looking at some considerations to think about when designing some guided discovery tasks, we'll go here. So, for the first one, we have instructions in simple language, because if they don't understand it, what are we doing? Okay, and they will not be able to perform the task. You're actually testing their understanding of the instructions, not the task, which is not a good thing. The second thing, covering mainly the aspects of meaning, sometimes form, sometimes both. But make sure it covers all the aspects you need, not one or two. Yes, you need to think about the time. Okay. Normally it happens in pairs or groups. But if you give them the previous task, nobody will do anything. Only the very good grammar students in the classroom would be able to do it. Other people will be just watching. And then finally it should be engaging and scaffolded. Okay, any idea what you mean by scaffolded?
Helping.
Everything, like it should be helpful for the students. It should build or build on each other.
Building their knowledge.
Could be micro teaching.
You could include some micro teaching while you're monitoring, but we're thinking about the design itself, like how to design it and make it simple for the students. And now this will be your turn. Okay, you will be redesigning the task. Okay, so this is the target language, the 3 sentences, and your job is to think how you would design a good guided discovery task. Okay, so again you can work together. Okay, let's go. Try to design a good guided discovery book. Okay, let's listen to this one.
Okay, so first of all, we should highlight the target language, and then prepare like an MCQ question, or not an MCQ, give them choices. I mean, for example, let's write in one of the choices that like, in case you transfer the card, there is a possibility to get or to pay as little as 3% or few amounts of money, something like that. I'm not really with the examples. And then ask them to read the examples and to match them to the choices I gave them.
So you will give them some sort of synonyms.
Exactly, yes, to elicit from them the meaning.
Okay.
Then prepare some CCQs, of course, to ask them which one is a possibility, which one like that.
Okay. Any other suggestions?
We will start with asking them about the meaning.
Okay. How? This is the question.
Which one has imagination? Which one has?
Do you think that they all have the same meaning or not?
So you will, one of the questions is which one is imaginary, which one is real? Do you think they all have the same meaning?
Yes.
Okay, this is one of the most confusing questions ever. it's because do you think they all have the same meaning? So okay.
But we don't have
Do they have the same meaning?
So they have
I know, but do they have the same meaning? If they say yes or no, it's still problematic.
So can I ask you then this question at the end?
You can use other questions, but not the exact same one.
It's not just joining all of these examples in one question.
No, you cannot.
Why?
Because it's too confusing to.
No, let's not join.
Of course.
together.
Yeah,
Not
of course.
join.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Anybody else?
Yes. We worked together, and this is our task.
Okay.
We said read these 3 sentences and match them to the following options.
Okay.
So which one is expressing a possibility in the future? Which one is giving advice? Which one is about unreal situation? And after finishing the task, we give them like 5 minutes. After finishing, they will check in pairs just to check their answers together.
Okay.
And try the meaning together.
Okay. So what is the first question again?
Which one is expressing a possibility in the future?
Which one?
The first one.
Which one is expressing a possibility in the future? The first one?
Yes.
Well, they might
We can say, is it possible to do something?
Okay, so
If you do something, is it possible?
okay, so is it the future or the present?
Present.
Like if you do something in the present, this will happen in the future.
Okay, so if you transfer your card, you will pay as little as 3%. Is this about the present or the future?
Future.
Both of them.
It's a condition of
Both of them. Like if he does it now or in the
Yes.
future, it will probably be the same thing. So it's present or future. What about the last question? Which
the
one?
last Which one is about
Giving
unreal
advice.
situation?
Which one is about unreal situation?
Yes, we can give advice.
Second one?
This one is
Second
good.
and third.
It's about advice.
But the third is more of an advice.
Yes.
Can
Okay.
give advice.
Okay. Now this one, is it the present, past, or future?
Not
Present.
future.
No, not
It's
future.
past.
It's past.
Past.
Okay, so this is like the imaginary in the past. Okay. Okay. So this is imaginary, but in the present or the future. Although the structure is past, which is one of the confusing areas for students. Okay. Any other suggestions? Okay. Here we go. This targets your idea for the highlighting or noticing, which is this one. So they are matching the halves, and then yeah, it's very similar.
Similar, yes.
again, why do we have this one?
The meaning?
Yes, the first task. It's just noticing the language.
The structure, form.
But we're not looking at the form now, we're just getting the students to notice how the sentences form, because they had listening before this one, so they probably remember the sentences. So now they are just matching the halves to notice the language itself. Okay, and then we move to the meaning. Okay, so this one is about meaning only, all of that.
All of them.
Yeah, what about form?
Another one.
You can either listen or could be a substitution table. And again, students do it and you just give feedback, move on if they know it. Okay? Now, my question is, would you do each one separately or would you do both of them together?
Separately. Would you get confused easily?
Yes, easy.
Together.
Okay. So if you say separately, just raise a hand.
Yes.
Well, excuse me, what do you mean? Do you mean like?
I mean the meaning first, then the form. So
Oh.
meaning, we give feedback and so on, and then we move to the form and give feedback and so on.
Yes.
Separately? Okay. Why?
To not get confused.
Okay. What is confusing between this one and the previous one?
We know them to know the usage before and then the form.
Let's complete the
Okay.
test. I'm still confused.
Okay.
I think now we know which one is the first one and which one is the second one. Like, because I think, and if I'm teaching this one, I just say, okay, now guys, after finishing this class, so the first one, this is the first conditional.
Okay.
This is the second one, and then I just repeat the meaning, and this is the second one. So now I just want you to look at them again, and please complete this table.
Okay, so
I talk in the middle, you know?
I know.
You know
but
the meaning
this
well?
takes us to another point, time.
And that's why I give them 2 minutes here.
I guess it's much better to separate the tasks.
Okay.
Because we need to make sure that they are aware of the meaning before moving to the forum. I said something about the time. That's okay. However, whatever time they're spending here, they're saving the time. So that's it. So maybe now we will take some time, but we'll make sure that we got the meaning and then we got the form, and we're not 100% sure about that. However, on the other hand, if you ask them to go to here, they might get confused in the meaning, and that will lead them to more confusion in the
Okay. So.
I mean, what's the balance of teaching them the meaning and the form at the same time?
Saving time. Saving time.
It depends.
Okay, from classroom, they're not confused. Like, from teaching, they're not confused if they go to school.
Yes. They don't normally get confused because they know this is meaning, this is form. But the point is, if you put both of them in one task, it saves a lot of time. Like they can walk their way through the meaning and then they can walk their way through the form. Now, people are saying they might not know which one is the first conditional or the second conditional. Now, if you look here, this is me helping them. So they just need to complete 1, 2, 3, and so on. So they don't actually have to write the whole structures again. They are just filling in.
Control.
There is a possibility for them getting confused, but it depends on the level of the students and the class you're teaching. So if you know that your students will get confused, you can divide it, you can separate it. If you know they are good enough, you can give it the whole thing. If you don't know anything, you should know. This is your class. If it's your first time, if it's your first day, if it's a demo or a first day in any class, yes, take it step by step. But normally it happens, you can actually know from the very beginning of the lesson. Like while you're monitoring, while they are doing classes and so on. So, yeah.
I don't recommend to teach a conditional for the first time. If I really won't do it.
Yeah, sometimes you are substituting for another teacher. Sometimes you are just coming to the class. So if you are not sure, divide it, separate it. But if you think they can handle it, fine. And pretty much, I think from intermediate, upper intermediate, and so on, they can handle both of them.
Yeah.
Okay, so the higher the level, the higher the intelligence some have. So they can actually handle both of them. Okay. Now, this takes us to these two questions. We have already answered the first one before. Okay? Like what happens first, guided discovery or the teaching of the meaning form pronunciation. But this is what I want you to focus on. So far, we have not seen anything related to pronunciation on guided discovery. Okay, so what do you think? Should it be included in the task? Should it not? And why? Take a minute, just think about it. You can think about the same 3 sentences. If you're including pronunciation, how would you do it?
Not affect. It will not affect. But it will not affect on the meaning. Your testing work.
How? No, this is the point. How would you include it? No, this is drilling. But I'm talking about highlighting the features like connected speech, intonation, etc.
The grammar itself.
Providing an audio or video. How they produce language.
We can use a listening task.
For the pronunciation?
Yeah.
So they will listen and?
A match for
Match what?
instead of having the sentences written, I just say listen to these sentences and match them.
To?
The options again.
What
the same
options?
thing.
The
options
meaning?
will be right- yes.
Oh no, it doesn't work. Still meaning. Okay, so let's hear some suggestions. Start with you.
I've seen a lot of guided discovery activities in course books. It's a listening task, just as you said, but it asks students to write the information.
Yes.
So it's already-
So sometimes they can listen and like find the intonation,
Or
rising,
highlight the
foreign,
stressed words.
highlight the stressed words. Okay, maybe highlight the linked contractions. Okay, so you can actually do that as guided discovery, but you have to be very careful.
But when?
After the meaning.
Can the teacher be the source of this listening? If
Yes.
you don't have the material.
If you don't have audio, you can say them and then they can highlight on paper. But meaning comes first.
Yep.
And then you decide. Form or pronunciation follows. It doesn't make much of a difference, but you can just decide later on. Okay, but meaning should come first. So yes, it can be included, but you have to be very careful. Okay, now how to actually manage the task in class? What are the steps that you should be following? Yeah, I know, but let's think about it as like in the classroom. Now you have this task, the guided discovery task. How would you do it with the students? What is the first step?
Giving instructions.
Instructions?
To design the task.
Plan for it.
Yeah, just getting their attention. They are all focusing and so on. So let me give you the first step, which is basically clear instructions and guidance. So as long as they have clear instructions and you're guiding them, it should be fine. What happens next?
Maybe modeling.
Modeling, maybe. Well, modeling, ICQs, all of that is part of instructions. But let them do it in groups or pairs. Again, all of that is happening after the text. So we're done with the text, we're done with everything, so all of that is happening after the text. Okay, so why in pairs or groups? Why not individually?
Because it's like each other.
Yeah.
It's be easier.
Yeah, we need them to help each other. Okay,
Why
someone would know something, someone wouldn't.
Time saving, I think. Could you repeat it?
Again, we do not normally let students do it individually. We let them do it in groups or pairs to help each other. Yeah.
Get them to speak to practice.
Exactly, it's like a way of interaction. They are interacting.
Interaction mode.
Yeah. And then? Yes, monitoring is really important. And finally, proper feedback. Okay. Not just feedback, proper
What does it
feedback.
mean for proper feedback?
Okay, because some people would give feedback. Here is the answer key. Now let's move on. Like, seriously? They could have done it at home. Okay. Now, why do you think this one is the most important one?
To give the
Guidance.
proper feedback.
Because it continues the next step. Like
Okay.
giving the feedback.
Oh, the
Are you
student
gonna
part
teach
is
or
saying-
are you teaching?
To make sure.
I know, but the point is, what do you actually mean by monitoring carefully? Because some teachers monitor like this.
No, I'm taking
Find the
notes.
common mistakes.
It's not only about common mistakes.
They did the test. They did the test here. To make
Or
sure.
threatening.
Make sure they are doing well.
Yes.
Teacher while monitoring, while the teacher monitoring can take some notes of what students or what mistakes let the students do. And
Okay.
then can write on the board one of these mistakes and ask, is this good English or bad English?
Yeah, but this is related to practice tasks, not the guided discovery, because the guided discovery is about the meaning of the target language. You're not actually correcting errors right now.
Make sure that all the students engage.
Okay, so first of all, we make sure that they are doing the task you want them to do. This is one thing.
And also to support them. Like
Exactly,
for example,
helping
help.
them.
Yes,
To
to
encourage them to show the best.
Exactly, like, but you're helping them. Like, if when some of them doing something wrong or they need some support, you can actually go near them, sit with them, and help them. Like, take a look at number 1 again, or look at number 2, or blah blah.
Take the
So
opportunity.
it's actually very important. So you help the students here, and it informs your feedback. Because if you're not monitoring carefully, you wouldn't know, and then you will start teaching everything again. Okay, wasting time. And then this would be useless, all of that. So we don't have time for practice. And then your lesson is over. And it fails. Yeah, if you're doing self-learning. Alright, so this is very important. Now this is, we have talked about guided discovery, how to design it, how to organize it. Now, what are the benefits of using guided discovery in the classroom? Okay, I'll give you some time because you need to think about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 benefits. Using guided discovery in the classroom. Okay, just think about it, brainstorm together. Okay, and then we'll look at them. Not yet. So, 1.
First of all, to motivate students.
Okay.
To foster autonomy.
Okay, so we have autonomy and motivation. Okay, any other ideas? Okay. Ah. Same thing. Okay, so list teacher talking time.
The class will be more student-centered, and of course this will help the student to be a little bit more autonomous rather than depending on the teacher all the time.
Okay, makes sense.
And also,
Any other ideas?
there will be better interaction in the class instead of just from the teacher to the students, like the students themselves will talk to each other. There's something that we had a problem about, which is the time. Like he thought it's a time saving, and I don't think the same thing.
It depends on the teacher. to be honest, some teachers are very, like, they plan very carefully, and they can actually pull it through in the classroom with less time.
Yeah.
And some teachers have the talent of spending more time on things that shouldn't.
I take more time. Okay.
So it is a talent, to be honest.
Maybe I don't have it.
So, okay, that's a very nice point. Critical thinking. Okay. The same thing. Okay, so the first thing that we have is active engagement. The students are actually engaged in the clarification. They are not just passive, they are not just bases sitting in the classroom or chairs just listening to you. They are actually active in the teaching process. The second one is it actually helps them to understand better when they do things on their own, and instead of you telling them.
To discover themselves.
Okay. Remember the Chinese proverb, like, don't give me a fish and teach me how, or give me a lot of fish and that's it. Now, the point is if you engage the students, if they're actually doing the task themselves, it's very hard for them to forget.
Involvement, I remember.
Yes, but if you are just talking to them,
And I think this will work on the metacognition skills.
yeah, could be. And as you said, autonomy. Students become more autonomous and they can actually do things on their own. And this one is
Problem solving.
yeah, it's similar to problem solving. It's not math, I know, but somehow they have a problem and they need to find a solution. So it's actually good for their critical thinking. And finally, motivation. Okay, now here I said increases motivation, but in some cases it's
demotivates.
Yes.
Depends on the class.
How? No, it doesn't depend on the class, but how could it be demotivating?
When they cannot answer a single
Okay.
When the instructions are not clear.
or A1 students from A1 to A2.
True beginners, starters,
Yes.
A1 students.
I think when it's the first time ever for them to see the topic or the grammar rule or they are totally unfamiliar with it, I think it's really
Yeah, but even if it's the first time, it doesn't have to be demotivating. The point is, it depends on the teacher. Instructions, the preparation of the task, how it's handled in the classroom, how much guidance is he giving them. All of that can help the students. If you remove all of that, it will be very demotivating.
Grading the task.
Exactly. If the task is not scaffolded, the language is not simple, students don't have guidance, there isn't enough monitoring. All of that will lead students to be less motivated, not motivated.
Also, we can add the enhanced retention.
Yes, which is basically, I think, related to understanding and the autonomy and the problem solving. So all of that will help them retain the
They
information.
discover by themselves.
Exactly. Yes.
They challenge their ability.
Yes.
So they
Somehow it
can
has a challenge.
Yes, they can't answer easily.
Okay. Good. Now, all of these, are they related to the teacher or the students?
Students.
No, I mean, who will be autonomous?
Students.
So most probably all of these are benefits for the students. One of the benefits for the teacher is less spoken time. If he's good at managing tasks.
Minimizing.
It's a point of weakness for the students.
Yes. Okay. Now let's think about challenges. And this will be more related to teachers. Okay, so what are the challenges that teachers have when designing or selecting or managing guided discovery in the classroom? Preparation.
Lower achievers.
What do you mean by lower achievers?
The people that we can't participate with each others.
So people with lower levels.
Yes.
Okay.
Different style.
Okay. Instructions, time. Appealing, tasks, discoveries. Okay.
Grouping the students with each other.
Okay. Nice. Any other ideas?
Trying to silence the set from your life with each other.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
This is a challenge. Okay. So for the first one we have, it can be time consuming.
Yes.
If not managed well. So you need to be very careful. And you need to think about it before the class. Not in the class.
Yes.
Please.
Yeah.
Like before. Okay? Okay. Now what do you think we mean by varied outcomes?
Some students might understand and others might not, or might be able to solve the task and others.
Exactly. Some people might actually understand it in different ways. Like I'll understand it in a way, you will understand it in a different way, and then the teacher ends up with having too many results to deal with. But again, we need to be prepared. This is what we signed for.
The way is linked to the same result or not?
Sorry?
The way is to understand anything that links to the same result.
It should be the same result.
Yes.
But some people might think, for example, if we go back to the task we had, they might think if I were you, I would do that. It refers to the past because it's past. Some people will think, oh, I know it's an advice because I had it before.
But the teacher can handle these. The teacher can handle these by providing different devices, maybe video or audio, plus something.
The meaning and teaching of the meaning, it rarely happens through a video or an exposure. It has to be through the teacher. Unless you are getting them a video of someone explaining the rule, playing it on the PowerPoint, and you go home. Okay. Other than that, you need to do it yourself. Okay. What about this one? Scaffolding. It needs to be scaffolded. It needs to be guided. Students need to understand what you need them to do. It needs to build on each other. Okay. Always think about it like a house. Can you start with the roof?
No.
There will be nothing like as if you're throwing cement in the air. Like there will be nothing. Exactly, it will fall in your head, which is the same case with guided discovery. This is very important, and this is what Radwa was saying. When someone doesn't know how to handle guided discovery or doesn't want to know, it requires certain skills to be able to pull it through in the classroom. So you will need to be like somehow able to manage the instructions, able to see the problems, anticipate, and prepare your solutions and everything. And finally, applicability. Not all language items are available to be done using guided discovery, and not with all levels. So you have to be very careful. Something like low beginners, starters, it's very difficult for them to actually read English, let alone doing guided discovery. Okay, so you need to be very careful when you're selecting or designing guided discovery tasks. Okay, any questions? Okay, how much time do we still have? Not many. Okay. So we were supposed to talk about like practice activities, but I think we covered the important part, which is basically guided discovery. So we'll be moving to this one. Okay. Now, we have two different activities, and we need to decide which one is guided discovery, which one is a practice activity, and why.
Clear. The first one. The first one.
Okay, which one? First one. Okay, why? Exactly, so we have some usages, we don't have actually sentences to practice or anything. But this one, exactly, this is somehow controlled, restricted practice. They're just choosing, multiple choice. Okay, very nice. What about these?
Number 4. Along on the right.
Okay, it is number 4. Okay. So what about number 3? Okay, yeah, I know. Okay, probably number 4 is guided discovery. But what about number 3?
Practice.
Practice? What kind of practice?
Semi-controlled and free.
It's a little bit freer, they are speaking. Why is this guided discovery? What are they discovering? So
this is practice.
This is practice, this is discovery.
Yes.
Okay, but do you think they are, okay, can we use this as practice as well?
Yes.
So after you teach the words?
Yes.
You think that yes?
No, maybe just like this.
So this could be test 1?
Yes.
This can be used as practice.
Yes.
Okay.
Which one is guided discovery? Or the sentence, separate sentence?
Yes, but those are not actually sentences, they are headlines. Okay, like newspaper headlines or titles. So they are not related, but they are the same context. Headlines. Now, if you look here, do we have sentences? Some do they have some clues?
Yes, just reading text.
Okay, so it's like we're giving them some clues to help them discover this meaning. So it's more of guided discovery. Now, I can use it as a test to tell me what to teach or what not to teach. So this could work as well, but it cannot be used as practice after the teaching. Why? Because you will probably be using the same synonyms to teach the words. So what are they doing? Just identifying again, which is not really helpful.
So it's like to brainstorm something like this before you get the new vocabulary?
I wouldn't call it brainstorming, I would call it a test. Like, this is the first thing. Okay, you go to the classroom, do the lead in, and then here you go. Yeah, try to find these in the text. And then you monitor, and then you make notes. Oh, they don't know this, they don't know that, blah, 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 and then you teach. And then you move on. Okay? Agreed?
Yes.
Okay. I'll skip this one for now and move to this one. Any questions?
I just want to ask a question. First of all, you mentioned like we can use text-based in order to have like guided discovery. Can we use other approaches or other frameworks?
Normally it works best with text-based because you need the text to get the sentences. You cannot get the sentences out of nowhere. They need a context.
But is it work better?
You can work it. You can use it with a situational presentation, which you have a situation. But again, you have a context.
Okay, so I should have a context.
Okay. Any other questions?
I just want to ask you all, I teach runner like second
Okay. This is text-based, but how you like? What do you do after you extract it from the text? Do you put it on the board and start teaching? You're asking them questions. As long as you're engaging the students, asking concept questions, eliciting from them, it is some sort of discovery, like you're guiding them orally. Okay, so it can happen both orally or written. It's the same idea. Okay. You know,
The discovery is before the teaching.
yes.
Right?
Yes. Because if it's after the teaching, it's
So this step I'm going to teach and
yes.
step one.
Step one in the teaching.
Then I'm going to clarify.
The problematic areas.
Yes, after the test.
It's fine. The whole idea is not for them to get everything correct, but to have them discover, and then we teach the areas they don't know. So it is probably the case that they will make mistakes all the time, but at least they were engaged. Okay. Another questions?
What is the moment
Sorry?
What is the moment
It normally happens after the exposure, after dealing with the text. This is the next step.
The first step, they should be the
Yes, exactly. Reading or listening, then you move to highlighting and guided discussion.
Can you summarize the steps quickly?
They are here. Okay. Yes, this is like the text-based thing we looked at. Yes. These are normally the steps. And it happens again.
Set the step.
Yes.
السلايد اللي قبل
Okay. Manage as a teacher. What? Okay. Okay, thank you so much everyone. It was really a pleasure. And just, let's keep in touch. You can actually find all my data here. You can scan it if you want.
The barcode, because we thought that there was going to be a QR code to scan for the barcode.